Hey, welcome to Quick Answers with Craig. What a privilege, what an honor to be back with you. You know, this is a simple, encouraging way to answer the questions that people are asking. When you hear that phrase, quick answers, it's kind of easy to think, oh, these are real simple answers. These are actually complex answers to really complex issues. This is actually part 3 of a little series we're doing, answering the question, what are some keys to recovery from same-sex attraction? So someone that maybe you personally are dealing with same-sex attraction, no condemnation, no guilt, no shame. Or maybe somebody that you are personally connected with and you're trying to understand this, education's power, right? So I want to give some support for those that are struggling with homosexuality. Again, this is part 3. I've already talked about 7 keys. Now I'm going to hit 5 more keys. So 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Number 8, this is what I would say. This is big. This is real big. You have to accept the reality that emotionally healthy life can feel very boring in the beginning. So when I'm counseling people who are being set free from homosexual tendencies or same-sex attraction or some fantasy, after the drama and excitement that's often associated with the gay lifestyle, because it's all fantasy, it's thrill, when you now switch and you start making responsible, God-honoring choices, man, life begins to feel very black and white in comparison to this technicolor life, right? And I just want to tell you that's a lie. It takes a while to discover, but you will discover it, right? That healthy living is actually so much richer and so much more satisfying than any life that indulges the flesh. Because any life that indulges the flesh is ultimately going to destroy you. That's what Jesus made very clear. That in a man's heart, right, we devise this course, and in a man's thinking, we think our own ways are going to lead to life, but they're going to lead to destruction every single time. So that's number 8. Number 9, big. Get plugged into a church, a local church. Worship with other believers, right? Get involved in a small group if you can, a connect group, whatever your church calls them, a Bible study, a Sunday school class. Some of you may go to Sunday school. That's still around, okay? But it's so essential in that season of healing that you give back to the Lord in service. Like, you don't have to experience any level of healing or recovery to help set up chairs even at your church, right? Like, even if you're unable to serve because of the emotional disposition you're in serving people, there are physical tasks you can do. And so I always tell people, when you're dealing with recovering from same-sex attraction, the number one thing that's got to happen is you've got to develop healthy same-sex relationships. Let me tell you the best place to do that, the church. The church. Now, I'm not saying that accounts for every wrong abuse. There have been people who are trying to recover from same-sex attraction. They go to a church and there's a predator at the church that tries to draw them back in. I get that. People are people. But the best place that we have in our culture, okay, that is a ready-made context for you to develop healthy same-sex relationships, it's a local church. And so you need to do that. And here's the cool thing is if you'll get in the local church and study and serve with another person, you will begin to kind of move down that ladder, so to speak, of levels of fellowship. Number 10, you have to develop self-discipline, meaning you have to do something every day you don't want to do, right? So I'm talking about exercise. I'm talking about your diet. I'm talking about your food, meaning our emotional mindset is very self-centered and very self-indulgent. So recovery is the opposite. Recovery means I have to learn to be Christ-centered, and I have to be self-denying. I have to deny the self. I have to not believe everything my mind thinks. And that self-denial puts me well on my way to recovery. Next one, number 11. Remember when you stumble that a fall is not the same as a wholesale return to your old life. Okay, let me say that again. Remember that when you stumble once or twice, a single fall or a second fall is not the same as a wholesale return to your old life, okay? Meaning, there is a really, really big difference in a single event and an ongoing habit. And a lot of times what happens is when people are trying to recover from same-sex attraction and they fall once or twice, they give in to the temptation. The enemy tries to communicate and convince that they've gone back wholesale to their old life. Listen, when physical babies learn to walk, they fall down. It's a part of learning to walk. The righteous fall 7 times, but they get back up and continue to pursue Christ. Listen, the Bible is full of people who fall. You got to give yourself grace. God gives you grace. You got to give yourself grace. Listen, the determination or determining factor of whether or not you're in Christ has nothing to do with whether you fall or not. It's whether or not you get back up. You got to get back up and realize one single fall is not the same as an ongoing habit. 12th, final for this video, you need to have accountability partners. So you need people who are going to ask you specific questions about specific problem areas. And it has to be a regular basis. I'd say weekly, to whom you're going to openly answer and you're going to honestly answer. In addition to your accountability partners, you should have at least 3 people who know about your struggle. I always try to ask people about their circle of 3. Who are the 3 people? And they should be willing, it's hard to find these people, but they should be willing to receive a call from you at any time should you feel tempted, should you feel discouraged, should you feel overwhelmed in a moment. We often refer to these people as your lifeline. Another way I've called these people is the fire drill folks, because they're there to talk you out of tough situations. They're there. They're trusted sources. And you're going to need 3 because not everyone's available at all the time, right? And so you get very kind of upset and can get bitter at one person. So if the first one doesn't answer, call the next one. If the second one don't answer, you call the next one until you reach someone. So again, that's 5 other steps to recovering from same-sex attraction. How do we support those that are struggling with homosexuality? Man, thank you so much for tuning in today for Quick Answers with Craig. If you hadn't hit subscribe, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you like content, you want more content like this, you can also hit the bell to stay up to date with our notifications. We'll see you soon.